Hey guys, happy weekend. Just popping on real quick to give you all the details about my 12-week spring cut. And I wanted to share all the details about how I decided to go with 12 weeks, where I am as far as creating a deficit, all those details. So on the call the other day, session 2 of my training, I got a bunch of questions about like how to figure this out, what to do when. So I wanted to get into some of the details about what I'm planning. And of course, if you want to continue your journey with me and the other ladies who have already signed up for Fit and Fueled, I'm encouraging you to apply for Fit and Fueled. And I think it's going to be an amazing group. And I'm really, really excited to do this with you guys. So let's start at the beginning. I have a few notes to keep me on track. You guys know how it is. There's always tangents and details and all the things that I want to tell you. Okay, so last week I did the nutrition audit with you guys. I tracked my food on a piece of paper because I didn't want to be influenced by an app like MyFitnessPal or something like that, because as soon as you start entering things into an app, you become much more aware of your food choices, which is the whole goal of macros as a tool. It helps you slow down and pay attention to what you are consuming, and it gives you data on what you are eating. So with the training that I did, shout out to training 1. If you had registered and whatnot, watch it, because you could do a nutrition audit at any point in your life. And what I was telling the ladies on the second training is that you can do a nutrition audit at any point. And I think it's really, really helpful for quote unquote getting back on track, or like giving you a reset or getting you back to basics, especially when it's like a crazy time in life and you're just not on top of your nutrition. So like the holidays, the summer, maybe you were just on vacation, you always have that nutrition audit in your back pocket as a tool to get you back on track. So watch session 1 if you haven't watched it. See, there's the first tangent, guys. But my whole point was I tracked my food on a piece of paper for 2 days in a row, and I thought it was pretty normal of how I eat, and that was the whole point. I wanted to get an idea of how many calories I've been consuming for the last 5 months or so. I pretty much started my bulk in October, and I've been just really focusing on eating, over my maintenance calories and strength training, getting enough sleep, getting enough protein, all of those things. So that has been my goal for the last however many months. Now we are in the spring. I am ready to cut as far as dieting goes, and my whole goal is to maintain as much muscle as possible, but get lean, just kind of lean out all over. I want to keep the muscle. I'm a little bit nervous about this cut, because when you go into a cut, I feel like sometimes this is something that women don't realize, is that when you go on to a diet or into a cut, diet and cut are interchangeable here, but into a cut, you're going to lose body fat. Sure, I know that's the goal, but you're also going to lose muscle. And that's, of course, why you see the scale go down. It's not just your body losing fat. It's sometimes muscle too. So my whole goal is keeping that muscle, because when you get into your 40s, it is really hard to put it on. So I'm going to do my best to maintain it. So many tangents. I apologize, guys. So I did my tracking exercise. The first day I consumed 2,800 calories, and the second day I consumed 2,400 calories, which I kind of guessed maybe that's where I would be. It was a little bit more than I had thought, because I was, trying to eat in a bulk, but in the last few weeks, I'm like, let's get into maintenance and let's just see what happens as far as like the body composition goes, because the whole goal when you are in maintenance or in a cut is to eat as much as possible and still lose weight. Like, you don't want to have a drastic calorie deficit or anything like that. Like, you don't want to make this happen too fast, because one, it's miserable, like really, really under eating, being hungry all the time, being tired. It can affect your sleep as far as like low blood sugar goes. Obviously you can lose muscle and whatnot. And then of course, when you're doing such a drastic cut, you might lose weight really quickly, but at the same time, you were lowering your metabolic rate and how much you were consuming. So when you go back to quote unquote eating normal, that's when the weight gain comes back. So my whole approach is to do this in a slow and steady way, where the weight comes off slowly over the course of 12 weeks. So I'll explain why I decided on 12 weeks. So when we work with one-on-one clients, our cuts for them when they have earned their cut. Shout out for my video about 7 signs if you are ready for a diet. Check that out to see if any of it resonates with you. But when our clients have earned the right to diet, we will put them on a cut anywhere from 8 weeks to 16 weeks. And we always have a start and a stop date for that, because for a few reasons. So one, we don't want a moving finish line. I've seen that happen in the past where people are like, I just want to lose 5 more pounds. I just want to lose 2 more pounds. I really want to get to my goal weight. But then you're extending this diet forever and ever. And like, we don't want our clients, I don't want to be on a diet forever, because it is stressful on your body. You're lowering your metabolic rate. There's a chance of losing muscle. You're gonna be hungry. It can piss off your thyroid. Your hormones can get out of balance. It's just not good for overall health. I mean, think about it. You are under consuming calories, which probably means you are under consuming nutrients and minerals and things that really nourish your body. So, you know, the last thing we want to do is have somebody on a diet for like 6 months or a year, or their whole life. I mean, we definitely have women who come to us that are like, I've been on a diet my whole life. So with our cuts, we have a stop and start date. And I think having that stop and start date is also really helpful, because it helps you manage your expectations, because this is really important. When you go into a cut, you need to give 100% effort if you want good results. And I've said this before, it happens all the time. I see it all the time with clients where they're giving kind of like a C+ effort on tracking their food and staying in a deficit, and then they get frustrated that they're not seeing the results that they want. So you can't give a C+ effort and expect A+ results. So during a cut, you do need to be really honest with yourself as far as what you are consuming and making sure you are staying in that deficit, and it takes work. You know, a day off here and there, probably not a big deal if you're looking at the whole big picture as far as 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. But like, if you're off track, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're on track Monday through Thursday, that's only 60% of your week. So like, that's a D as far as like giving you a grade. So my whole point here is like, you need to be on point as much as possible just to get the results that you want. So I think having a start and stop date really sets those expectations that you need to do these certain things for this amount of time. And I think it can be motivating to know that there's not an endless date, or you're not going to be doing this indefinitely, that you need to do these things for that set amount of time. So I think that is really helpful. So the reason I decided on 12 weeks is honestly, it was in the middle. It was kind of just like, I didn't want to do an 8-week cut, just because 8-week cuts can be great. That's like almost like a mini cut. You're just getting something done quick, fast. You're just like getting to the point. So I think if like you had a vacation or something coming up and you're like, I just want to lose a few pounds for a vacation, you could do it quick. It's like the quick and dirty route where you're just focused on fat loss. Like, you don't care what happens in those 8 weeks. You just want to get to a goal. And then, you know, you get to your goal, you go on your vacation, you get married, like whatever the goal is. And then after that, like, you know, a reverse diet is coming. You're going to get back up to your maintenance calories, yada, yada. The 16-week is the longer version of it, where yes, slow and steady fat loss is the goal. This could be for somebody that has a lot more weight to lose, or there's somebody that just doesn't like restriction. Like, they don't want to have like a big deficit and be hungry all the time. They really want to make sure they're maintaining their muscle. There's a lot of good reasons for that 16-week cut. I decided on 12 because 16 weeks is a really long time. I mean, that is 4 months out of the year. And I just know myself, and I'm like, that's too long. I just don't want to be restricted for that long. I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to lose that much muscle. So I decided on 12 weeks. So we'll see how 12 weeks goes. And then also with the timing, I think I'm going to start today, tomorrow. I'm not a big fan of the like, my diet starts on Monday. I'm like, if you want to do this, just start. Like, you don't need to wait till Monday to do it. So I've been tracking my food. So I guess today could be day one. But with the 12 weeks, I just thought it was like a nice middle ground where, yeah, I can be consistent for 3 months, stay on top of it. It's not too long, but it's long enough that I don't have to worry about losing too much muscle, being super hungry, being cranky, all the things that go along with the cut. Because yeah, you need to be consistent. You need to do the things that you need to do. And then also with the timing, I finish up right near my birthday. So I thought that was like a nice way to finish it. Like, let's ring in 43, you know, a little bit leaner, looking a little bit more cut and whatnot. So I thought that was a nice way to finish it out. And then also we go on our big, you know, Oregon vacation like 2 weeks later. So I think like the timing is really, really good for me. And that's definitely a tip. Like, time your cut to a time in your life where it's going to be a time where you can focus on it, and then also a time that might line up with a vacation or the summer or something where you want to look really good. And I've definitely said this before, but like, you don't want to do a cut, at least most people don't want to do a cut during the holidays or a busy season at work, or the summer where it's all about having fun and vacations, or you just had a baby, or your kitchen's going to be remodeled and you don't have time to meal prep, or you don't have the space to meal prep or cook at home. So there's a lot of times that like a cut might not work. So definitely look at the timing of your life and figure out when it might work. So for me, like March through June, in theory, this is a good time for me to devote to this. And I think also having the support of the Fit and Fueled ladies, like, it'll be a good way to keep my motivation up and keep me on track to get results. All right, and then as far as the deficit that I'm creating, so what does this cut actually look like? So again, the goal is to eat as much as possible while still losing weight. And I'll talk about the metrics I'm gonna track in a second. But with my tracking audit, I was between 24 and 2,800 calories. And like I said, that's kind of like normal of my eating. Like, I didn't feel like I was eating too much. I didn't feel like I was eating too little. I was like, this is a pretty normal day of eating. So I think that is about right. So typically we have people figure out their maintenance calories, and one of the ways to earn a cut is to be at maintenance for 9 months, 12 months, as long as you possibly can. I've been at maintenance for years. I haven't done a cut since 2019, so it's been a while since I've done this. So I decided I'm gonna cut at 2,200 calories, which I'm sure some people are out there like, you're cutting at 22 calories? That's really high. But I have been eating at, you know, excess calories for a while now. So 2,200 is actually a deficit for me. And my plan is to eat at 2,200 calories for 2 weeks consistently, see how my body responds before cutting any more calories. And my goal is just to cut slowly. So 2,200, 2,100, 2,000, 1,900. We'll see how low I go on this, but I'm gonna wait 2 weeks, because this is what we tell our clients. The only way to know if that calorie range is quote unquote working is to see how your body responds by consistently tracking your food. Because if your tracking is like all over the place and like you miss a day, you take a few days off, like some days you're really high, some days you're really low, you're not consistent, like you're not gonna know if it is working, you know? So my whole thing is to be as consistent as possible. And you know, I'm not gonna hit my numbers every single day on the dot. I say this all the time about not being a robot. I don't eat the exact same way every single day, but doing my best to be within that 2,200 calories, you know, plus or minus, I don't know, maybe like 100 calories, you know, because like you don't eat the same way every single day. So 2,100 to 2,300 calories is probably going to be where I'm falling. And then of course, priorities are going to be protein, because I want to make sure I am maintaining my muscle mass. I'm really nervous about this. I just feel like I've worked so hard, you know, to like build the muscle, and I see more muscle for sure. Like, I actually have a butt now. I got shoulder muscles. I just don't want to lose it. So I'm just really keeping an eye on that. So my goal is, honestly, like if I hit 100 grams of protein a day, I will feel pretty successful, but I'm really going to try to push myself up to like 120, 130, just making sure I'm getting enough of it in. So that's going to be really my challenge, just slowly increasing that protein goal really up to like 120, 130. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'm probably going to lean more towards like a high carb, low fat approach. I gave this example on the call on Training Tuning the other day, that the way macros work out is that protein has 4 calories, carbs have 4 calories per gram, and then fat has 9 calories per gram. So like mathematically, this is like kind of a way to look at it. Of course, different things work for different people. And if you poll a whole bunch of people who have lost weight, different types of diets work for different people. So you could talk to somebody that's like, I've done keto and done high fat and I've lost all this weight. Or you could talk to somebody that has done low fat and more high carb and they've lost a ton of weight. So it really is about that calorie deficit in a sense. But for me personally, I just know I can get more bang for my buck by eating carbohydrates. And I really like carbohydrates. They like give me energy. I work out on the regular, so I need them. So I'm gonna be aiming for like higher carb, lower fat. Definitely not a no fat situation, because fat is really good for your hormones, blood sugar balance, feeling full between meals. So it's definitely not a no fat or super low fat, but I'm just definitely gonna keep an eye on my fat and not go over it and really focus on the carbohydrates and protein. So that is the goal there. And then as far as progress, like how I'm going to figure out if I'm making progress. So we don't own a scale. I'm not a big scale person, but there is a scale at CrossFit. So my goal, or how I'm going to track this, is progress photos. I need to take them. I'll probably have Mal take them for me tomorrow. Get my bathing suit on, take the photos. You know what I mean? So progress photos. I'm a big fan of progress photos. We use them with all of our clients. We don't require them, but we really strongly encourage our clients to take progress photos, because I'm sure you've heard me say this, that a lot of times your body composition can change and the number on the scale is not going to go down. So I think seeing it visually, you can see if you have bigger shoulder muscles, if you're starting to get some abs, like if your waist is thinning out. So there's things like that in a photo that are not going to show up or not going to translate to the scale. So I want to see like visually the progress that I'm making. We're also big on measurements. So like measuring, your chest, your hips, your butt, your legs, your arms, your waist, obviously. And when your measurements are going down, it means you are losing fat, but maybe losing muscle too. But when you're losing fat, gaining muscle, vice versa, I mean, obviously there's going to be less space that the fat and muscle take up, so you would see maybe your measurements go down. So that's another metric I'm going to keep track of. And then every 2 weeks, I decided that I'm going to weigh in, just because the scale can fluctuate so much from day to day, week to week even. And I'm just not a big scale person, but I do think it's a piece of data and something to consider. So every 2 weeks, I'm gonna weigh in at CrossFit and see how that goes. I think I'm gonna use my starting metrics from OPEX. I did that in-body scan. So I'm gonna use that as far as the weight, the body fat percentage, and muscle mass. So in June, when I finish this thing, I'll go back to OPEX, get another scan, and just see, what the progress is. And then, I hopefully that amount of data will be enough as far as seeing if my cut is working and keeping me, progressing every single week towards mid-June as far as the end date goes. And then finally, my workouts. So we'll talk about that. And yeah, your workouts might change a little bit when you're in a cut phase. I am going to just stay consistent 3 to 4 times a week at CrossFit, which is a mix of strength training, a little bit of that like Metcon HIIT stuff, lifting weights faster. So I'm going to do that. Working on getting some more walks in. It's getting nicer here as far as the weather goes, so planning to do some walks. I'm going to be doing some Strong Made Simple workouts with the Fit and Fueled ladies, so they are starting that the second week of the program, so I'll probably do a few of those. And I'm really going to focus on like lower body, just because I want to work on the glutes as far as getting them ready for beach weather and bikinis and all that. So it'll definitely be a focus on the glutes and just strengthening lower body as much as possible. So I think that's it. I think that was all the details. If I missed anything, just leave a comment with your question. More than happy to answer. I am an open book here, but I hope this was helpful to you guys as far as like getting some of the details of how I figured this out for myself. Like obviously this is very strategic. There is a plan going into this. It's not me just being like, I want to lose weight and I just start, eating less and cutting calories and, doing more cardio. Like, been there, done that. It doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work for me, and I just know it's going to stress out my body. And of course, jacking up your blood sugar with all of this cardio is going to make you more hungry, and you're going to have more cravings. It's going to be harder to stay in a calorie deficit. So there's a lot of things that I have done in the past that haven't worked for me, and I'm very aware of that, but just wanted to like hash out all the details and what I'm planning to do. And then I was thinking about giving updates, I don't know, like maybe every 2 weeks, just to like give you guys an idea of how it's going. And then also sharing, challenges and the struggles that go along with this. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk by any means. I do think I'm going to have to put in the work, but I think the fact that I have planned this out and I have specific expectations about like how to do things and what to expect and the timing on things, I think it'll be really, really helpful. I mean, instead of just going into this blind and just winging it, I really do have a plan for this and a goal. I mean, I don't have like a goal, I'm going to lose X amount of pounds. We're just going to see what happens when I get to June. But, you know, I'm hoping there'll be a slow and steady fat loss. Hopefully I don't lose too much muscle. And yeah, I hope it's not going to be super duper restrictive, because I'm just going to do a slow cut as far as reducing those calories, and just, you know, anytime there's a plateau, that's when I'll cut down, you know, 50, 100 calories, we'll see. But slow and steady to make sure I'm not starving and miserable and maintaining as much muscle as possible. But I do think going into this with a plan is going to be really helpful, really motivating. Obviously, Fit and Fueled, those ladies are going to support me. And of course, you know, just a shout out that if this is something you're interested in, you want to master this skill, like how to plan this out for yourself and how to plan these different phases of nutrition into your life, nutrition and fitness into your life, you know, check out Fit and Fueled. It's going to be awesome. So right now, early enrollment is open for everybody who registered for the training, and then the official public launch is happening on Wednesday, so keep a lookout for details about that. But it's just a great way to help you figure this all out on your own, so you have a very personalized approach to this, so you can get the best results for you and your body. Because yeah, there's a million different diets out there, there's a million different ways to do it, but if you are not supporting yourself, you and your lifestyle, your likes and dislikes and preferences and workouts and, you know, how you are living your life, food preferences and everything, you're just not going to get the best results, because I feel like you're forcing certain parts of it. So why not work with yourself and with what already works for you and just enhance it and come up with a plan. Because I do think a lot of times it's like the round peg in a square hole when you're trying to like fit yourself into like an Optavia or like a Noom or something like that, or paleo or keto or something like that. I just think it can be really hard for people to follow those diets in a way that gets them results. So why not make it super personal so you can ensure your success in the long run? All right, guys, that was a lot. I hope you found this helpful, and I'm excited to take this journey. And yeah, if you're interested in joining me in all of this, Fit and Fueled happens, or we're kicking off April 3rd, so coming up real soon. All right, guys, have a lovely Saturday, and talk to you soon.